Hey, y'all. This Miss Truth again, coming back at you, live and direct from my little studio. Hey. Well, anyway, today I want to, do a testimony for you guys, for my listeners and stuff like that, because, I always talk about healthy eating, healthy living, and the strong use of natural herbs to heal your body, instead of synthetic and man-made drugs. And I want to let you guys know a little bit why and some background, I guess. So, some years ago, not too long ago, I was diagnosed with lupus. I went through a whole year of this new transformation of my body to where I had light sensitivity. I had a rash on my face, swollen eyes, swollen face. I just really didn't look like myself no more. And they were trying to figure out what it was. And it took a dermatologist, out of town, actually, as a matter of fact, that they had sent me to after going to numerous specialists that said, you have lupus, systemic lupus. And that was in my skin. It didn't attack my organs or anything, but it was in my skin. So like I said, I had, everything showed in my skin. I had the rashes, when the sunlight would hit me, I had the rash on my face, and all this and that. So anyway, they had me on all these different drugs, and they had me on steroids to try to bring the swelling down and control it. After a while, I started having, more severe joint pains and stuff. So it started becoming harder for me to use my hands, because I started losing a lot of the strength in my arms and in my hands and my fingers and things. And, I do hair, you guys. I'm a barber and a beautician. I got it both. So, and I teach. And at the time I was teaching, cosmetology when all this was going on. So I really needed the use of my hands and stuff. So I kind of went to rock bottom, because, I ended up kind of losing my job behind it a little bit, going all the doctors and this, that, and that, and this and that. But the straw that broke the camel's back was when they had wanted to put me on this medication, and the doctor was telling me about one of the major side effects of the medication was I couldn't have kids. She said you can't, run the risk of being pregnant on this medicine, because, your child would be born with a deformity of some sort. So they suggest if you're going to have kids, you have to be off this medicine about 3 to 5 years before you can conceive. And I looked at her, I said, and you want me to take this for what? She said, well, it's supposed to help with the muscle pain and this and that and this and that, And I said, okay, well, that's fine. So I let her write the script or whatever, and I went home, and I just cried, and I cried, and, and I prayed, and, I asked God, why me? And I was just, you can imagine this had me depressed and down for a minute. I had a friend of mine that the Almighty put in my path. I must say, because everything happens for a reason. The Almighty put him in my path, and he was into the alkaline way of life. The alkaline eating, herbal remedies. He's a herbalist, so he studied under Dr. Sebi for several years, and Dr. Sebi's a big herbalist, may he rest in peace right now. But yeah, he was talking to me, and he was saying, you can cure this, and you can beat this. And I'm like, no, they said this is lifelong, there's no cure, the song and dance. And he was like, okay, if you want to believe that. He said, but there are herbs and stuff that can help heal your body. and there's different foods that can electrify your system and basically get you back on track. So I said, you know what? At this point in time, anything goes, because I'm not going to take that medicine that lady told me I can't have no kids on. Because to me, that was a deal breaker. I don't like no one telling me what I can and cannot do when it comes to my body and my strength and my mind and my belief. Now, yeah, I said I didn't want no more kids at the time. I understand that, but that was my choice, and I don't want anyone to take my choice away from me. Okay, you understand that? So that's what drove me to try that way of life with him. So we did that. He taught me how to eat alkaline and what alkaline foods, what foods to stay away from, what foods to nourish my body with, as long as, along with, whipping up these natural herbs to cleanse the blood and rebuild the system. We use certain herbs like some sarsaparilla, some red clover, some dandelion. Now that's not all of them, but that's just, a few. Made it into a tea, and so I would drink this and eat the alkaline diet, the alkaline way, with only alkaline foods, I should say, which are only natural foods, foods that grew from the ground, foods that's been here since the beginning of time, not man-made foods, not hybrid foods, natural, pure foods, okay? And there's a list of that. Look up the nutritional guide, Dr. Sabi's nutritional guide, if anybody's curious to see. He gives you all the rundown of the natural foods. Anyhow, I did that underneath his supervision, because he taught me how to cook and, what to look for and what to read and all this stuff. And I went to different, lupus seminars on how to eat right, for that and everything. And the common denominator that I seen in all of that was that sugars are killing us. You got to stay away from sugar. You really need to stay away from dairy products, dairy products. And even though the lupus doesn't, their nutritional thing doesn't say anything about meat, but if you do your research and your study, meat is actually killing us too, because you are what you eat. And, meat comes from animals, and these animals are farm raised, and they're not raised like they were 40 plus years ago. Okay, they doing assembly lines and all that good junk and putting chemicals and stuff in it. So now that's what we're putting in our body. Okay, so those are things that I've learned. But on that journey, I've just switched to a new rheumatologist about a couple years ago. And he did his blood work and his tests and stuff because he wanted to, want to be for sure what type of lupus I had and this, that, and that. So he did the blood work, and he come back to me and he said, "You sure you had lupus? You don't have lupus. I don't see any autoimmune disease or anything in your file." He said, "Who told you had lupus?" I said, "Well, you can look at my paperwork from the other previous doctors. I had it, and I had all the symptoms, Now, I didn't go into details of, to tell him of what I actually did for myself, because, these are doctors, and I say always that, doctors are for the prescription drugs because that's what put the money in their pocket. But prescription drugs are not for us to live long, not for our health of longevity, okay? So I didn't go into details with him, but I was just like, "Oh, for real? Oh, okay." So, of course, he thanking and clapping it to the drug of Plaquenil, because that's what they usually give lupus patients. That's what he clapping it up to. But the truth be told, and that's why I'm doing my testimony, is that no, it was the drug of the earth. And I wouldn't say drug because it's not a drug. It's the herbs of the earth. Like I said, dandelion leaf, you find that in plants. Sarsaparilla, you find that in a plant. All these different things you find out in the grass and the ground and the mountains and the earth. They were here. That's what our ancestors used to do. They didn't have doctors back in the day. They didn't have offices back in the day. What they do? You went to a witch doctor, or a great grandma went out in that garden and she went and picked this herb and picked that herb, and you know what I'm saying, something she didn't have planted. She picked that and picked that, put it together and made you right. You see what I'm saying? Because our bodies are complex. They can heal themselves, but you have to give it the right things. Now, like I said, I give credit to, the herbs because they do work. They really do. But the key to keeping it that way and keeping it longevity is your eating habits, guys. It is your eating habits. Because you can drink all the herbs you want and get rid of it, but if you're not changing the way you eat, you're going to get it right back. So it's like you're getting healthy, getting toxic. Getting healthy, getting toxic. That's what you're doing when you keep eating the same way. So the number one thing that you must do if you're going to do this journey, or you need to, get yourself together, get your health right, cleanse yourself, whatever the case may be, is start developing a healthy eating habit. Start learning how to cut these sugars out of your diet. Get natural sugars, get you some dates, sugar, get you some agave, get you some honey, 100% honey, get you some maple syrup, get you some natural sweeteners, and as far as your sweets and your donuts and cakes and all that stuff, start replacing that with some fruits. Getting some fruits, making some fruit smoothies and putting that sweetener in that fruit smoothie. You know what I'm saying? You will find yourself changing. You will find your taste buds changing. It will adjust. And you're doing this for the best. Now, I know healthy eating is not all that cheap, but it is accessible. You can find things in just cheap stores like Aldi's, Little Save Lots, Walmart, little local grocery stores. You can find things, because if you're willing to spend all this money on some man-made prescription drugs that's going to give you side effects and kill you in the short term, because you're not going to live long term, then you might as well spend this money and eat right and eat a little healthier and give yourself longevity. Live to be 100. Live to be 90 some. Live to be whatever you want. Okay, guys? But the key to it is healthy eating. I'm your walking, living testimony. And this is Miss Truth, guys, telling you the truth, telling you from my heart, telling you the real. That's why I try to share some of my experiences with you guys, because I don't know if someone else out there is going through this or not, but I want to share my knowledge. I went through that journey. I know it all too well. I know the struggles that you go through.
Pick up the phone.
Let me help you, okay? Let me help you, and you can help me by giving me feedback. Hit me up, 786-708-4966. This Miss Truth, guys, trying to tell you the truth, bring you the real, giving you some love, telling you how I feel. And I want to hear from you too, okay? I want to hear from you too. I want to see all my beautiful people smiling, living life to the fullest, living healthy, y'all. But take it one step at a time, okay? Take it one step at a time. Don't just dive in, because if you dive in, you're setting yourself up for failure. Even the strongest minds can't take diving in. So pace yourself, okay? Give yourself a time limit. I say if you can last 3 months, you got it licked. It's good as gold. 3 months is 90 days. If you can create that habit for 90 days, you got the rest of the year, you good to go. The years after that, you good to go. So take it slow. If you want to dive in, then I would still say moderation, no dive in, meaning that, we can go into that in another segment. But anyhow, y'all, hit me up, 786-708-4966. This Miss Truth, y'all. Loving y'all. Talk to you later. Listening to you always.